Hey, welcome back. We're diving into something today that I think is super important for any business.
Yeah,
It's how to make sure that your everyday work actually makes your company more valuable,
absolutely.
making sure that you're aligning your business objectives with increasing that all-important enterprise value.
Exactly. And we've got a great article to guide us through this today by Daryl Amy, who's a real expert in business growth.
Okay.
He put this out just last month on October 21st. And yeah, it lays out a really clear framework, I think, for approaching this.
Cool, cool. So right off the bat, what really jumped out at me was how Daryl challenges us to think about how each business objective really creates value for the company.
Yeah.
And, you would be surprised how many companies just kind of set goals and they don't think about this impact at all.
Yeah, I think that's a really critical point that sometimes gets missed. Value creation should be driving all the decisions we make in business.
For sure. For sure.
If we think about, a company that's maybe working to increase their recurring revenue, so maybe they're moving away from handshake agreements and they're getting everything formalized in contracts.
Gotcha.
That might seem like just an operational tweak at first, but it goes so much deeper.
Yeah. I can see that.
You're talking about really creating something much more stable and predictable.
For sure.
And that's what investors are going to be looking for.
Right. Yeah, it's not just about paperwork. It's about something more.
Yeah, exactly. And Daryl highlights a bunch of benefits in this article that directly boost enterprise value.
Okay.
So you think about it, you've got predictable cash flow, which is like gold to investors because it reduces risk.
Yeah.
Then you get higher valuation multiples, which is what we're all after because, investors love stability.
Hmm.
Then you've got things like increased customer retention, which boosts lifetime value.
Yeah, so it's like this ripple effect
Exactly.
where all of these things, they're all kind of intertwined and they all point back to making the company more attractive to potential buyers or investors,
Yeah,
which ultimately is what's going to drive up the value of that business.
exactly. That's where the magic happens, right? A company with predictable revenue,
Yeah.
solid customer relationships,
Yeah.
and a clear path to growth
Uh-huh.
is going to be worth significantly more than a company that's all over the place.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting because Daryl then throws down the gauntlet.
Yeah.
He says, okay, it's not just about asking, will this make us more valuable?
Yeah.
But how many dollars are we talking about?
Right.
Like, how much value will this specific objective create?
Yeah, I love that shift in thinking because it's so key to moving beyond those vague goals and really getting strategic.
Yeah.
He contrasts two examples of opening a new branch office.
Okay.
One just says, open a branch in Austin.
Okay.
But the other one specifies revenue targets, profit projections,
Mhm.
the whole 9 yards.
Right.
Which one do you think is more likely to succeed?
Well, the one with the plan, for sure.
Exactly.
And it's got specific and measurable goals built in so that you can actually tell if you're successful.
Exactly. This ties right back to the importance of setting those SMART goals.
Mhm.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
For sure.
And Daryl actually gives us a little formula here to kind of estimate the value creation.
Okay.
He says, multiply the projected EBITDA, and that's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization,
Gotcha.
by the industry's valuation multiple.
Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I know it sounds complicated, but it's really not.
Before we go any further, can you break that down for us? Like, what exactly is a valuation multiple?
Sure.
Why does it even matter?
So a valuation multiple, it's actually a pretty simple concept. It's basically a way to compare companies in the same industry.
Okay.
And it tells you how much investors are willing to pay for each dollar of profit.
Gotcha.
So for example, let's say your industry has a 5x EBITDA multiple. That means that if your new branch is projected to add, say, $1 million in EBITDA, that translates to a $5 million increase in enterprise value.
Okay.
You're essentially multiplying that profit by that multiple to see what the potential value creation is.
Okay, so by quantifying it this way, it suddenly becomes a lot easier to prioritize, initiatives
Absolutely.
and allocate resources effectively.
Yes, sir.
All of a sudden, opening that branch in Austin, it's not just a good idea, it's a $5 million good idea.
Exactly. And that's the power of this framework. It gives you a concrete way to measure and compare the potential impact of all
Wow.
these different objectives.
This has been super helpful, but it feels like we've just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
What else did Daryl Amy have to say about aligning objectives with enterprise value?
Well, one thing that he emphasizes is the importance of prioritization.
Okay.
So once you start quantifying the value of your objectives, it forces you to think critically about what you're working on. And, some initiatives might sound great on paper, but they could actually have very little impact on enterprise value.
Right.
On the flip side, some projects that might seem less urgent could actually have a huge impact if they're executed well.
So it's really about making sure you're working on the right things.
Yeah.
The things that are actually going to move the needle
Exactly.
on value creation.
Exactly. And that brings us to another really crucial point that he makes, which is tracking and measuring your enterprise value.
Okay.
I mean, how can you prioritize based on value if you don't even know what your current value is?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of business owners, they just rely on like rough estimates or gut feelings when it comes to like what their company's actually worth.
Yeah, and that can be incredibly risky, especially if you're thinking about maybe selling your business in the future or attracting investors.
Right.
Daryl actually suggests seeking out a professional evaluation
Okay.
from an accredited professional who can assess the true value of your company. And this is really important because it gives you a solid foundation for making strategic decisions.
So you have a real starting point.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what you're working with and you know where you can go.
Yeah, this is great. This is gold.
Yeah.
I can already see how this shift in mindset can have a huge impact on how businesses operate.
Absolutely.
So to recap, we've learned that aligning business objectives with value creation is essential for maximizing a company's worth.
Yeah.
It's about asking, how does each objective create value? And then actually quantifying that value creation.
Exactly.
And prioritizing based on that.
Absolutely.
Not just doing things that sound good,
Yeah.
but strategically choosing initiatives that'll have the biggest impact
For sure.
from your company's worth.
Yep. And we've also learned about the importance of prioritizing based on that value creation potential, not just urgency, and the critical role of actually obtaining a professional valuation so you understand what your company is truly worth.
This is a lot to take in.
But incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
This makes me even more curious to dive deeper into Daryl Amy's value creation engines model,
Yeah.
which he mentions in the article.
Yeah.
But before we do that, let's take a quick break. Okay, so we've laid some good groundwork here for understanding, how crucial it is to align your business objectives with increasing enterprise value.
Yeah.
Now, Daryl Amy, he introduces this really interesting concept in the article called value creation engines.
Right.
Sounds kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
Like something out of a sci-fi movie?
Yeah. It's not quite as futuristic as it sounds,
Okay.
but it's definitely powerful.
All right, break it down for me.
So think of value creation engines like a set of lenses that you can view your business through.
Okay.
Each engine represents a different area that directly impacts enterprise value.
Gotcha.
So instead of looking at this massive concept of enterprise value as a whole, you can break it down into these smaller, manageable chunks.
Okay. I like it. I like it. So how many of these engines are we talking about?
Well, Daryl identifies 6 key engines.
Okay.
We've got the revenue engine, the profit engine, the operating system engine, the customer engine, the human capital engine, and the systems and processes engine.
Okay, so instead of getting overwhelmed by this big idea of enterprise value,
Right.
I can focus on optimizing each of these engines individually.
Exactly. And what's so cool about this model is that it's holistic.
Okay.
It recognizes that value creation isn't just about increasing revenue or cutting costs. It's about creating a well-rounded, high-performing business
Yeah.
by looking at all these critical components.
Okay, I'm on board. Let's break these engines down one by one.
All right.
What exactly is the revenue engine all about?
So the revenue engine is all about maximizing your revenue streams.
Okay.
It's about identifying new opportunities for growth, optimizing your pricing strategies,
Got it.
constantly improving your sales and marketing processes.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward. I mean,
It does.
But I have a feeling there are some nuances in there that maybe a lot of business owners are missing.
For sure. I think one thing that Daryl really emphasizes is the importance of deeply understanding your ideal customer profile.
Okay.
Who are you selling to?
Right.
What are their pain points? What are their aspirations? Once you really have that clarity, you can develop a really strong value proposition that truly resonates with your target market
Okay.
and build a scalable sales process that consistently brings in new customers.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just about selling anything to anyone.
Right.
It's about finding the right customers
Exactly.
and building a system that consistently attracts them.
Exactly. And he also encourages businesses to think beyond those one-time transactions
Okay.
and focus on building those recurring revenue streams.
Right, like we talked about before with moving from handshake agreements to contracts,
Exactly.
recurring revenue, more predictability,
Exactly.
more stability,
More stability.
those higher valuation multiples. It's like the secret weapon
It really is.
for boosting enterprise value.
For sure. All right, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the profit engine.
Okay.
This one's all about maximizing profitability,
Right.
squeezing every ounce of profit out of your operations.
Okay, so this one seems pretty self-explanatory to me.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it just about cutting costs, increasing margins?
It's definitely a big part of it, but I think Daryl goes beyond just the obvious here.
Okay.
He emphasizes the importance of really understanding your cost structure.
Okay.
You know, where is your money going?
Mhm.
What are your biggest expenses?
Right.
Are there areas where you can trim the fat or maybe negotiate better deals with suppliers?
Yeah.
Once you've identified those areas where you can improve,
Okay.
you can implement strategies to increase efficiency
Uh-huh.
and boost those profit margins.
So sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
Right. And, you know, strategic investments can actually lead to greater profitability in the long run.
Okay.
Think about investing in new technology that streamlines your operations.
Right.
Or employee training programs that boost productivity.
Okay.
Even expanding into new markets
Gotcha.
that open up new revenue streams.
Okay, yeah. It's about thinking long-term.
Exactly.
Focusing on sustainable profitability, not
Exactly.
just those short-term gains.
Right. All right, what's next?
What about this operating system engine?
Ooh, this is a fascinating one.
Okay.
So the operating system engine is all about how well your business runs on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Think about your organizational structure. Is it clear who's responsible for what?
Uh-huh.
How about your communication flows? Is information moving smoothly and efficiently between departments?
Okay.
And finally, your decision-making processes. Are they streamlined or are they bogged down by bureaucracy?
So it's kind of like the infrastructure of the business.
Yeah, exactly.
Making sure everything is running smoothly and efficiently.
Right. The operating system engine is about identifying those bottlenecks
Okay.
that are slowing you down,
Mm-hmm.
streamlining those processes. Right.
And empowering your team to do their best work.
Yeah, I can see how that would definitely impact value creation.
Absolutely.
You know, a well-oiled machine is always going to be more efficient and productive
For sure.
than one that's constantly breaking down.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the customer engine.
Yeah.
This engine focuses on building strong, lasting relationships with your customers.
Okay, this one seems pretty crucial to me.
It is.
You know, happy customers are repeat customers.
Right.
And repeat customers mean more revenue.
Right. You got it. And the customer engine goes beyond just like basic customer service.
Okay.
It's about deeply understanding your customers' needs, exceeding their expectations at every touch point,
Yeah.
and creating a loyal following that sings your praises.
So you're saying like go above and beyond.
Go above and beyond to deliver a truly exceptional customer experience.
I mean, think about all the times you've been blown away by like a amazing customer service.
Right.
It really makes a difference.
It does.
It makes you feel valued, appreciated.
Definitely makes you want to do business with that company again.
Exactly. And that positive customer experience leads to increased retention, positive word-of-mouth marketing,
Uh-huh.
and ultimately higher lifetime value from each customer.
So it's a win-win.
It's a win-win all around.
For everybody. Okay, I'm sold on the importance of the customer engine.
Good.
What about the human capital engine?
All right, this is a powerful one.
Okay.
So think about it. Your employees are your biggest asset.
Uh-huh.
They're the ones who are bringing your vision to life, interacting with your customers, driving innovation.
Yeah.
The human capital engine focuses on attracting top talent, developing their skills,
Okay.
and creating a work environment where they feel valued and motivated to do their best.
So it's not just about, hiring warm bodies. It's about finding the right people
Absolutely.
and creating a culture where they can really thrive.
Exactly. It's about fostering a culture of excellence, investing in employee training and development,
Okay.
providing opportunities for growth. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you be more engaged and productive if you felt valued and appreciated by your employer?
Absolutely.
If you felt like your contributions truly mattered?
100%.
So when you have a team of talented, engaged employees,
Yeah.
it shows in everything you do.
Uh-huh.
Higher productivity, better customer service, increased innovation, it all contributes to a more valuable company.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then last but not least, we have the systems and processes engine.
Right. This is kind of the glue that holds everything together.
Okay.
It's about having the right systems and processes in place to
Wow.
support all the other engines that we talked about.
So it's about making sure that all the moving parts are kind of working together
Yeah.
harmoniously?
You got to think about efficient workflows,
Okay.
clear communication channels,
Yeah.
robust data tracking systems.
Right.
These are the behind-the-scenes elements
Right.
that keep the business running smoothly and efficiently
Okay.
and allow all those other engines to operate at their full potential.
This value creation engines model is really comprehensive.
It is.
It's a really practical framework
Yeah.
for thinking about enterprise value and breaking it down into these manageable components.
And that's the beauty of it. It's not just a theoretical model, it's a practical roadmap for building a more valuable business. By focusing on optimizing each of these engines, you're essentially creating a company that's not only profitable, but also sustainable, resilient,
Right.
highly attractive to potential buyers or investors.
This has been so eye-opening. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective
I'm glad to hear that.
on how to think about, creating value in a business.
That's what we're here for.
So we've covered a lot of ground today,
Yeah.
from aligning those business objectives with enterprise value
Right.
to exploring this fascinating value creation engines model.
Yeah, it's been a true deep dive.
It has.
Hopefully our listeners are feeling inspired
Yeah.
to actually apply these concepts to their own businesses.
Me too. But before we wrap up, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
I mean, Amy clearly knows what he's talking about
He does.
when it comes to value creation.
Yeah,
But what's his background?
sure.
Why should our listeners trust his advice?
That's a great question. So Daryl has over 2 decades of experience helping companies of all sizes grow and thrive.
Wow.
And he's not just an academic, spouting theories. He's a practitioner who's been in the trenches working with real businesses
Okay.
to create tangible value.
So he's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk.
Exactly. And that's what makes his insights so valuable.
Yeah.
He's sharing proven strategies that have worked for countless businesses.
Right. It's not just abstract ideas.
Right.
It's real-world application.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Oh,
I mean, I'm always a little skeptical
I hear you.
of those business gurus who make these big promises,
Yeah.
but haven't actually done the work themselves.
Sure, but with Daryl Amy, you can be confident that his advice is grounded in real-world experience.
Oh.
He's seen what works and what doesn't, and he's genuinely passionate about helping business owners succeed.
Okay, I'm convinced. I'm definitely adding his book, Revenue Growth Engine, to my reading list,
Awesome.
and I'm excited to explore his value creation engines model in more detail.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
So we've explored the theory,
Yep.
we've looked at the framework,
Uh-huh.
but now it's time to get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
How can our listeners actually apply these concepts in their own businesses?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And it's different for every business.
Yeah.
But that's also what's so exciting about it.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to get creative and think outside the box.
It's about taking these principles and tailoring them
Yeah,
to fit your specific situation, your industry, your goals.
for sure.
I mean, there's no one-size-fits-all solution here.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about achieving perfection overnight.
Right.
It's about taking small steps, experimenting, finding what works for you.
So it's a process of continuous improvement,
Absolutely.
constantly looking for ways to optimize those value creation engines.
Yep.
Drive up the value of your business.
And if you ever feel stuck or overwhelmed, don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
There are tons of resources available, including Daryl Amy's work and his team at Value Creation Engines.
It's all about finding the support you need to succeed.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've given you the knowledge,
We have
the tools,
the inspiration.
the inspiration. The next step is up to you.
What is one objective that your company is working on right now?
Yeah.
How could you reframe it in a way that directly links to increasing enterprise value?
That's the challenge we're leaving you with today.
Think about those value creation engines.
Yeah.
Which one needs the most attention in your business right now?
Uh-huh.
How can you make small changes
Yeah.
that will have a big impact on value creation?
Don't be afraid to get creative. There's no right or wrong answer here.
Absolutely.
It's all about finding what works for you.
And, hey, if you come up with a brilliant way to frame your objective in terms of value creation, share it with us.
Yeah, we might even feature it in a future episode.
We love hearing from our listeners and learning from your experiences.
All right, folks, that's a wrap for today's deep dive.
It is.
We've explored some really powerful concepts.
We have.
But remember, the real work begins when you apply these ideas
Yes.
to your own business.
So go out there, create some value, and make those engines roar.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep. I'm excited to hear what everyone comes up with. This whole deep dive has really got me thinking about my own business
Yeah.
and how I can apply these value creation engines.
Yeah.
It's not just about, making money.
Right.
It's about building something that's sustainable and valuable
Absolutely.
that can thrive in the long run.
And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
You're always going to be fine-tuning those engines as your business evolves.
Yeah, that's a great point. You got to stay adaptable. Always looking for ways to create more value for your customers, your employees,
Yeah.
and ultimately for yourself as the business owner.
Well said. So to wrap things up, let's leave our listeners with a few key takeaways here.
Sounds good to me. What's the most important thing you want them to remember from this deep dive?
I think the biggest thing is to shift your mindset from simply achieving goals to creating lasting value.
Okay.
It's about asking yourself, how does this objective contribute to the overall worth of my company
Yeah.
with every decision you make?
I love that. It's about thinking strategically,
Yes.
making sure that every action you take
Absolutely.
is aligned with that ultimate goal of increasing enterprise value.
Exactly. And remember, it's not just about financial value.
Right.
It's about creating a business that's built to last.
Yeah.
A business that's resilient, adaptable, and positioned for long-term success.
A business that you're proud to own
Absolutely.
and excited to grow.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Well, hey, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into aligning business objectives with enterprise value.
It's been fun.
We hope you found it valuable and insightful.
Yes.
And until next time, keep those engines firing.